Major General Sarah Miller wasn't on a battlefield today. No war zones, no negotiations, just a simple shopping trip. She had spent 2 decades serving her country, leading troops into danger, making life and death decisions. But today, all she wanted was a new pair of running shoes. Dressed in a tracksuit and sneakers, she blended into the Saturday crowd at the upscale Westfield Mall. But then she felt it, the stares, the weight of suspicion clinging to her, like an unwelcome shadow. She had faced enemies overseas, but today, the real threat was standing just a few feet away, watching her, judging her, waiting. And she had no idea her life was about to change forever. Officer Troy Beckett wasn't on duty, but his badge was visible, his gun strapped to his hip, a silent warning to anyone he deemed suspicious. Beckett had a reputation, a history of complaints, a pattern of racial profiling that had been brushed under the rug time and time again. And today, his instincts told him something was wrong. His eyes locked onto Sarah. Was it the way she carried herself, the quiet confidence? To Beckett, she didn't belong, and that was enough. Sarah, unaware of the danger lurking nearby, found the perfect pair of shoes and headed to the cashier. A simple swipe of her credit card, a polite nod from the nervous young employee. A routine moment. But as she stepped out of the store, Beckett moved in. "Excuse me, ma'am." Beckett's voice was firm, commanding. "I need to ask you a few questions." Sarah turned, her brow furrowing. "Is there a problem, officer?" "You were acting suspicious in there," he stated, his hand hovering near his holster. "Mind telling me what you were up to?" Sarah's patience, honed from years of high-stakes negotiations, was wearing thin. "I was buying shoes," she said, holding up the bag. "Is that a crime?" "Let me see some ID," Beckett demanded. Sarah's jaw tightened. "Why? Have I done something wrong?" His grip on his weapon tightened. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be." Then in one reckless motion, he pulled out his gun. Gasps erupted from the crowd. Mothers clutched their children. The mall fell into stunned silence. And Sarah knew. This was no misunderstanding. This was something far worse. Sarah had faced armed insurgents. She had stood firm in war zones where the wrong move meant death. But this was her own country, and yet here she was, staring down the barrel of a gun. Slowly, deliberately, she raised her hands. "Drop the bag," Beckett barked. Sarah let it slip from her fingers, her voice cutting through the tension like a blade. "Officer, you're making a mistake. Get on the ground." Her eyes locked onto his, unwavering. "I am Major General Sarah Miller of the United States Army. I suggest you lower your weapon." For a moment, the world froze. The weight of her words settled over Beckett like a crushing force. A general? Number it couldn't be. And then, a voice from the crowd. "Dude, you're pointing a gun at a U.S. general." A young man held up his phone, recording everything. And he wasn't alone. Cameras flashed, voices rose, the tide was shifting. Beckett had just made the worst mistake of his life. What the hell is going on here? The crowd parted as Captain Denise Harper stormed onto the scene, a high-ranking officer, and a black woman who recognized injustice when she saw it. Her sharp gaze flicked from Sarah to Beckett's trembling gun. "Holster your weapon, Officer Beckett, now." Beckett's face burned, his authority slipping, his pride crumbling. But under Harper's glare, with dozens of cameras recording, he had no choice. He lowered his gun. Sarah exhaled slowly. The moment had passed, but the damage was done. The video exploded across social media. Millions watched in outrage. News stations picked it up, dissecting every second of Beckett's actions. His record was exposed, his history of racial profiling undeniable. Within a week, he was suspended, under investigation, his career in freefall. But Sarah knew this was bigger than just one man. In an interview, her voice remained steady, the same voice that had commanded troops in battle. "This isn't just about me. It's about the countless others who don't have my rank or my platform. It has to stop." Her words ignited something. Protests erupted, policies were questioned, and for the first time in a long time, change felt possible. But Sarah knew better. The fight wasn't over. And she wasn't done fighting. The world saw what happened. The video went viral. News anchors debated, social media exploded, and protests erupted. But in the end, was justice truly served? Officer Beckett lost his badge. His career ended in disgrace. But how many others like him are still out there patrolling the streets, carrying the same unchecked power, ready to pull their weapons on the next suspicious person? Sarah Miller was lucky. She had rank, recognition, and cameras recording every second. But what about those who don't? What about the people whose stories never go viral, whose names never make headlines, whose voices are silenced before they can even speak? This wasn't just about one officer. It wasn't just about one woman. It was about a broken system, a system that only reacts when the world is watching. Sarah knew that punishment wasn't enough. Real change doesn't come from firing one bad cop. It comes from fixing the system that protects them. So the real question is, now that you've seen the truth, what will you do about it?